Pep Talk UK Pro Beez at the JD Next Gen press conference, and I'm delighted to be joined by a man who I do quite a bit of stuff with. You know, we talk boxing a lot of the time. We talk about life. Delighted to be joined by the man himself, Dean Whyte. How you doing, bro?
How you doing, bro? You good? We're catching up again.
As always, now, Tyson Fury pulled off a spectacular display out in Vegas. What did you make of that performance?
I would call it more of a boxing exhibition. You know, to be honest, we can't discredit the guy. He was undefeated, whatever that means, being undefeated in the country he's come from, fighting the caliber of opponents he's fought. He hasn't fought anyone of that caliber, been to that kind of level. So, give him his credit, he was undefeated. He seemed like he did have a little goal at one stage where he's letting his hands go, but I think they should have came with a bit more of a game plan. Obviously, he was getting out of jab and busted up, but you know, I suppose it's easier talking from outside also. I always say that as well. But I mean, looking in, he just didn't belong at this level. He didn't belong in the ring with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a beast. You know, he's a very, very technically gifted kid. At 6'9", got reach, movement. It was just a systematic breakdown with the jab.
Now, a lot of people, including Anthony Joshua, are saying it's easier to fight lesser opponents to look good. Would you make of Joshua's comments?
No, that's true. That's a fact, though. Of course it is. So, I should say that. You know, it's kind of a weird one when you say that. But back in, you know, when you're coming up and you fight these journeymen, sometimes you look not that good fighting journeymen. Sometimes, you know, you can't get a stoppage because they know how to survive. He wasn't a journeyman because he was undefeated. But when you are fighting a lesser opponent, the likelihood is you will look spectacular. And someone like Tyson Fury is definitely going to look really good because he can look good fighting world level opponents, let alone the lesser beings than the likes of Joshua's, Wilder's, the Dillian Whytes, whoever he fights, you know what I mean? There's specific ways you're meant to probably try and fight him, but I won't divulge that information. But, you know, I think it's just what it is. Listen, I think that's right. It's his opinion, and I can kind of agree with it, but, you know.
Now, focus on bro, Dillian Whyte. Oscar Rivas is 3 weeks away. Now, a lot of people who don't know Oscar Rivas will now be a little bit more aware that each fight in the heavyweight division is tough no matter who it is. But Oscar Rivas certainly brings some pedigree to the table.
Yeah. No, he's got great pedigree. You know, he's a former Olympian and he's done a lot as an amateur. He beat Andrew Ruiz and a few other top names. As a professional, his notable win was against Brian Jennings. But to be honest, Brian Jennings was doing pretty good in that fight because he faded in the middle rounds. He started quite strong, quite explosive, faded in the middle, and then I think, I don't know, Brian Jennings' vegan power must have failed him. And he got caught later on. So I don't know. It's quite a tricky one. So you can't really assess because the level of opponents. Obviously, he beat who it was in front of him. He done what he was meant to do as a professional. So he went in there and beat whoever they put in front of him. So we've got to give him credit for that. He's got 18 knockouts out of 26 fights. So when you look at that, if he was in the UK, we'd be singing his praises right now. So, you know, he's an unknown quantity, but on July the 20th, we will surely know what he is, and the fans will know. If they haven't done their homework already, they will know about him because he's going to come explosive and strong. And my bro Dillian needs to be on his A game because, you know, we saw an upset the other day and we don't want anything like that. Dillian won't be overlooking in any capacity. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting, explosive fight. He'll come and let his hands go, and I think he'll get caught in between the exchanges, and we'll have a good knockout, hopefully, you know?
Because interesting enough, I've seen Oscar Rivas on social media, and he looks like he's putting a bit of size to trying to counteract the threat of Dillian Whyte.
I wouldn't be able to tell you actually that. Do you know what, funny enough, I actually need to go back and check him up again, but I think one of my bros sent me something about him punching the bag and stuff, but I didn't notice the size difference. He was quite a muscular guy. He looked in great shape aesthetically, and I don't know, it might not be to his benefit adding more weight because it'll be useless muscle adding on size because you're going to be slower, so it wouldn't make sense to me. But listen, hey, this is just my opinion.
Just to conclude, reports today in the media, Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, September. What do you reckon?
What date's that?
sometime September. They're saying there's no specific date, but it looks like it's been finalised and agreed.
I might go there. I like that. I like that fight a lot, to be honest with you. Potentially, I might go. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's a very good fight. Sean Porter is a beast. They're both beasts. I'm a big fan of Spencer's, but Sean Porter's an animal. He comes, he lets his hands go, and he doesn't mess about. He puts his all in. You know, from the beginning to the end round. So, if that fight is made, it is the one that I'll be possibly looking to go to potentially if the dates are right.
Errol Spence Jr. for you?
I'm always going to root for the Jamaican American. Yeah, sorry.
The truth.
Big fan of the truth.
Right, thank you lot. Pep Talk UK, Dean Whyte, Pro Beez. We out, ya. Subscribe.